Hi guys, I'm Aussie Villain and welcome back to Grindavik on the Impossible Dream. Today it is the transfer special as we move from Season 14 into Season 15. We have the best part of 50 million to spend. We have about 300 grand a week we can spend on wages. And we've already spent 10 million before we even get started. So let's see what we spent it on. Alright, so you can see here we have obviously bought about 14 million, and most of that was the Krusliak sale. We sold off a few youngsters that haven't really made it with us. This guy will recognise as the third choice goalkeeper. We've sent him off to, we've got other goalkeepers that are just as good, if not a little bit better. So we sent him off to go and have his career elsewhere. I don't know that anybody else there is going to ring any bells for you. So yeah, just happy to do a bit of a youth clear out of guys that were sort of 20 and need to go if they're not going to be certainly a first choice for the Gags. But what we care about is the signings that we've made. Now, we knew about these first two. Roman Androsovic was the left winger we signed. Now, he played for the Belarusian team that we beat in Champions League qualifying this year. Promising winger. He's a solid all-round player, I think. So we'll give him a chance and see if we can get... he'll never be first choice for us, I don't think, but certainly as that sort of backup option. You know, he's a good would make a good defensive wing up. So if we need to still have that attacking threat, but you know, with a defensive being a bit more defensively solid, there's a lot to like about him. He could probably even do an okay job at left back for us in league games and things like that. So that's the first one. The other one we knew about was Zarayev. Now he was a wonder kid when we signed him. Having signed him and having got him shown up, he's not as highly rated as the scouts said he was. And I mean, there's still a lot of value there, so we can look to sell him on. I'm less convinced now that he's going to make it. He is quick, so that's something he can tackle. He's not a terrible signing, but I don't know that he's going to be the guy that comes in and replaces Grubasic as the European centre back, as I was kind of hoping he would be. So yeah, we spent 4 million, potentially rising up to 4.9. Not sure we're going to see that he's going to be around for that long, to be honest, but we'll see what we get. Maybe he'll surprise us. Now these other two are two new guys. So Andre Smolin we signed from Boda Glimt, 3.4 million up front. Now this is a guy that I've had my eye on for a little while now, and I've wanted to sign him. He never wanted to join us until now. He wanted to join us now, and he is. We've always, I think, been a midfielder or two short, and this is my attempt to try and fix that for us. Now, he's 18, so there's a lot of room for him to grow. Physically, he's maybe not the best, but I always think in central midfield, you can get away with that if there's other strengths, and I think he has them. At 17, or 18, so he'd have 17 passing. First touch and technique are good. He's an okay tackler. Mentally, he's fairly strong as well, and he could do a job for us on the left wing, though obviously a lack of pace, so possibly we'll never do that. But yeah, I think he's going to be a good signing for us. He's in the under-19s for now. We'll probably call him in to the first team, have a bit of a look at him and get him settled in. Now, his career to date, he's only played 5 times for the Boda Glimt first team, so he's not got much experience, but he's got enough, and left-footed as well, so he can play on the. If we go with 2 central midfielders as Mazellas, he'll do a good job in there for us as well. So yeah, really excited to get him in. As I said, 3.4, I think it wasn't it, just a one-off fee, so that's going to work out for us. And the other guy we've signed, 1.5 million up front, potentially rising up to a little bit more than that, is Juan Angel Jimenez. Now he is an 18-year-old French right back. Now we signed him from Roma. The reason I've signed him, you'll notice that we're signing young players. I want guys that are going to be club trained players for Europe. Now he is a very, very decent to even I'd say good attacking fullback. Dribbling and crossing for a fullback are very strong. He's as good at defending as he is at attacking. Now, is he going to be somebody good work rate as well, which means he'll get up and down that right-hand side for us? Is he going to be someone that plays or starts the big games for us in Europe? Possibly not. But if we're struggling to break a team down, he's definitely a more attacking outlet at right back than we would otherwise have. And he's 18. There's still room for him to improve as well. So I'm excited about this guy. I think he's going to do okay for us. Never played for Roma's first team. Was out on loan at Famagusta, that Cypriot club. So yeah, we'll see what we get out of him. But another one that I think is going to do okay for us. So that's what we've already done. I still think I'd like to strengthen left wing if we can. Rocco is a bit unhappy The big question we're going to have is regarding Grubasic. 58 million we can have him for, and the fact that I'm tempted by it makes me think possibly we should do it. He's really good positioning. He's fairly good physically. He's still only 20. And I do wonder if 58 million is perhaps a very reasonable fee for someone that is this quality, but it is a lot of money for us to spend. But realistically, where do we need to strengthen? I'm happy with our striking options. Right wing, we've got sorted. Central midfield isn't too bad either with Raul in there. We probably need to get someone in to replace Brennett, who's only on loan. I think we can do a lot worse than signing him, though. Now, before we leave this season behind, we do need to have basically the both end of season awards so we can see who did what this season. So Kruzliak, just the 70 goals this year, absolutely ridiculous number that is. You'll see that there is some goals for this season where we've ticked over in game. League goals, it was 46 league goals for Kruzliak. Again, it was a record. It was more than double Gadini's previous record. So, yeah, again, ridiculous numbers. If we go down now to goals in a match, 6 by Bautinson was the record. Not quite, it equaled the club record of Gadini back in 2029. Let's see what else we've got here. Goals in a league match, Kruzliak's 5 was a club record. We'd had quite a few 4s, but never a 5. So well done, Jan, on that one. Next up, it is assists by a player. Raul equaled a club record of 20 with Milosevic from back in 2034. So we'll see if we can break that perhaps this season. We have most clean sheets. Puwol, he continues to hold that right now. Although Rafason playing in some of these pre-season games, the League Cup games, has gone in front there for this season, you can see. Let's go down to highest average match rating. Kruzliak 8.48, and he played a lot over maybe that's the 33, that can't just be league games. That's a ridiculous number, isn't it? And it's no wonder that he scored 70 goals with that sort of average match rating. Let's have a look here for most man of the match awards. Kruzliak's 12 was a new club record, beating the 11 of Gadini back in 2028. Moving on to worst discipline, and of course the golden card, Kosh. Would have picked that up this year. Of course, previous champion Volpez had since moved on. Youngest player this season was Hull Dawson. We saw him a little bit. He was not particularly good, so I don't know if we'll see him again, to be honest. Oh, no, we will. He's got potential, so we will see him again. Oldest player, it was Bakali, who has been oldest player all the way back to being the age of 25. He's been one of the oldest players in the squad, so Puwol looks like he's going to take over that mantle now. Youngest goal scorer was Helgi Magnusson. Now, that is the winger we've been using as sort of an inside forward to replace Seamer on the left. That is Helgi Magnusson. Was it a record? He's right up there. It looks like Bautinson might hold the record, 16 years, 102 days. And yeah, well, that's unlikely to be beaten, I would imagine. Oldest goal scorer last season was Bakali. Raul has it so far this season, but he might. I'm not sure who the oldest player is this year. Maybe he will hang on to that. Fans Player of the Year, unsurprisingly, was Kruzliak. This is probably a good opportunity to mention Viewers Player of the Year as well. You guys, we didn't even need to vote. You all nominated Kruzliak, and with 70 goals, I mean, really, how could you not? But yeah, some nice names from the past to see there as one Fans Player of the Year before. And the fastest goal, because why wouldn't we want to check it? 33 seconds for a rocker. He has that record. And is that the club record is what? 22 seconds for Gadini back in 2033? No, 19 seconds, all the way back in Season 1. 19 seconds for Helgason. Yeah, he hasn't been around for a long, long time, has he? So that is a record that has stood the test of time. Well done to him. Now, I'll just leave the overall records here so you can have a bit of peruse while we go through goal of the season, just to wrap up last season before we go into next season, sort of whole-hogged. So, yeah, the way these guys, we know how it works at this point. There'll be a link in the description down the bottom, either at the end of the highlights here or at the end of the episode. Just go down there, click on that. It'll take you through to a straw poll, and you can vote for which goal you think has been our goal of the season. So usually just at the end of the episode, we're going to do it midway through. So enjoy goal of the season highlights, and I will see you to put this season to bed and look forward to next season once you see this.
They call me a god. 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 Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon.
Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession. I will not stop, no, I'm never second guessing. I got a God complex. Haters love to hate, but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate, but I never get stressed. I'll take all the pressure like I'm acing this test. Tear it up like I'm Jason. I see the world like it's ready for the taking. I see this place like a game I'm playing. Straight to the bank to collect my payments. No negotiations, it's my way, I was born impatient. And like a damn Freemason, I'll run this nation.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
And here are our top 4 goals from the 2036 season. Don't forget to vote for your favorite.
I just go till I drop. Whether it's working or shots, give it all that I got. You can watch me work in my element. Anyone in the way is irrelevant. You wanna cross me, cool, not intelligent. Cause I don't forget shit like an elephant. Go ahead and tempt me, put it on the line and you'll come up empty. If I got time, I'm deadly. Never caught off guard, no, I'm always ready. I got a hand real steady. Look me in the...
We have breaking news this evening out of Grindavik as the club announced the signing of Italian striker Alessandro D'Ambrosio for a fee of £9 million from Brentford. Now, manager Aussie Villain had this to say just moments ago. I'm really excited about this new signing. I think we've struggled in front of goal recently. We only scored 180 last season, so I'm really hoping that the new face can, push us over that 200 mark. So there we go, we do have our first signing of the episode. It is Alessandro D'Ambrosio. We've signed him from Brentford, 9 million up front, potentially rising to 12.5 if he plays 50 games, scores 50 goals. I don't think he will because he's not going to play that much in the league for us, I wouldn't have thought. Now, on the surface of things, I know signing a striker looks like a strange thing to do given how many goals we score, and it's not our weakness necessarily either in Europe, and we're also trying to save up for Grubasic. But I'm going to show you in a second. He gives us something very different, I think, to what we already have in the squad. So 40.5 grand a week as a squad player, that is key, the squad player thing, because it means he's not going to kick off if he's not starting all the time in the league. Let's have a look at him. And this guy's popped up on our scouting reports a little while ago now, and we never really needed him, so I didn't sign him, but what I really like about him is, as far as a striker goes, he's deadly. Composure of 17 and finishing of 17. That means if he gets in front of goal, he is going to score. Now, what I also like about him, what we don't actually have in the squad right now, is passing, technique, and vision all over 15. He's a deep-lying forward, so if we're playing in Europe against some of those better teams, what I'm thinking he can do is he can drop in and be a deep line forward. We don't really have that. Seema could maybe do it, but we've got Skosian, who's sort of a bit more of an aerial presence. We've got Boutenson, who is just your poacher, your advanced forward poacher. This guy, he couldn't play, he's not your aerial presence, so his strength is definitely not a weakness. But this guy then is sort of somewhere between a Boutenson and a Skosian that can also drop off and create for other players. So I'm hoping is that Seema playing as that inside forward will really benefit playing with this guy, who will be able to hopefully feed him in. And then we could always look at using someone like Boutenson in a similar role on the right-hand side, and this guy dropping in and have a sort of a Seema, D'Ambrosio, and Boutenson front three. I think it just gives us a little bit more options in terms of striking players. Now, his career to date, we have a look here. Came through at Juventus. He's been playing in the Championship for Brentford. He's a very good player at Championship level. To be honest, if he's your striker in the Championship and you're not promoted for 3 seasons, then you're doing something wrong. He should be enough to get you through single-handedly. But yeah, 9 million up front. I think it's a bargain. It gives us other options. Now, I think Aroka becomes surplus to requirements. We don't need him anymore, and we're going to try and raise the money we need now to get in Grubasic full time, and then I think we've just about got ourselves a squad. All right, a little bit of an historic moment here. For the first time ever, we have had a player in the 50 Best Wonder Kids, the next gen for 2037. This is our best scouting tool we have every year. I'm constantly scouting these guys, but if we go to 11 to 20 here, Skosian, if you can see, is that 13th, which hopefully won't be unlucky for him, but 13th Wonder Kid or Best Wonder Kid, young player in football in the world. It's a nice little thing to have at our club, isn't it? He's a very, very good striker, and like as I said before, this is the reason I was willing to sell Krusliak was because we had him out on loan just trying to get football. So, yeah, very, very happy with that. Now, speaking of football, we have been playing that pre-season cup. It's been going on since whilst we're still in Europe. So there'll be some interesting lineups. We even had one game during an international break, which was interesting. So we started our campaign against somebody who may or may not have been Folgner. I don't know. I have to check my notes, but let's go see how we did. We went ahead when Meyer played in a rocker. Milosevic picked out Magnuson at the back post for our second. And Meyer and a rocker combined again to make it 3-0. Before Magnuson scrambled in our fourth before half-time. So first half brilliant, second half we kind of just took it off, but we'd already won the game. Magnuson played really well out there as the inside forward, a rocker obviously with a double, Meyer pulling the strings in midfield. Very, very nice to see. So that was against Proto, who are a second tier side. Our second game was against Folgner. This time it's definitely Folgner, so let's see how we did. Skojan gave us the lead. Gonzalez made it 2-0. Before Meyer teed up Skojan for our third. And Skojan returned the favour to make it 4. Before we crossed for Milosevic for our fifth before half-time. Skojan completed his hat-trick. Before Milosevic picked him out for his fourth. Plamenos made it 8-0. And Weir crossed for Skojan to get his fifth. So yeah, Skojan does look a decent replacement for Krusliak, doesn't he? 5 goals in this one. Milosevic, we were just far, far too good against the Folgner side that's usually giving us a hard time, but I think they're going through a bit of a down spell right now, and yeah, they were not good. You'll notice a different name in goal here. I'll have a quick look at him. Here he is here. He has since gone out on loan to KR, but I was playing him for as many of these games as I could. And yeah, he is showing a little bit of potential, to be honest. Low determination is the one thing that's going to hold him back. But yeah, actual attribute-wise, he's not too bad, is he? Next game to catch you up on is against Fram. Raul picked out Kosh to put us ahead. And it was 2-0 when Balthazar picked out Raul for our second. Before Balthazar was on hand to make it 3-0. And Bjornsson made it 4. So once again, it was a little bit of a walk in the park. You could see here this was before a European game because it was a very strong side that we put out. Then obviously we made subs to make sure that people were sharp but not playing 90 minutes. And yeah, we did to Fram what you would expect a European team to do to Fram. Final game, oh no, actually it wasn't the final game of the group stage, but at this point, 3 from 3 were both ourselves and Breederblink, who looked like they might be back on form. So this was essentially a playoff to see who got into the semi-finals. So let's see how it went. A rocker picked out Skojan's run to give us the lead. And Valenzuela sealed the points in stoppage time. So a tough game in many ways for us. We still dominated. We just didn't really score the goals. It was 1-0 from the 9th minute to the 94th. So there was a little bit of, you know, is this going to go wrong for us late on? But ultimately, it went absolutely fine. This is Zararev's first game for us, I believe. This would have been after the transfer window had opened. So yeah, it was good. It was good. So we're at this point already in the knockout rounds, but we did have one last game of the group, and that was against Selfos. An Androsevic-led counter-attack was finished by Meyer to put us ahead. And Baltonson pounced on a defensive error to make it 2-0. Before he added a third. And completed his hat-trick in stunning style. So what a strike from Baltonson to tap it off at the end there. Now, if you recognise the goalkeeper for them, we actually sold him to. He's our player. He was our player. We sold him to them. Actually, we gave him. I don't think they paid a fee for him. But just before this game, so he came back and almost, he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Maybe wish I hadn't sold him, but yeah, it was what it was. It was a very good performance from us. I think for this point we were already out of Europe, but Andrej Savic, this was his first game, the young Belarusian wing up, so that was good to see him having a good performance. And Baltinson up front, yeah, just picked up where he left off in Europe, really, didn't he? When he was scoring. No, he did score a few in Europe at the end there, didn't he? All right, so this put us into the knockout rounds, into the semi-finals, I should say. It's not really Champions League anymore, is that we faced KR, so let's see how it went. Milosevic found Skosian to give us the lead at half-time. And that was that. That was all she wrote for the game. It was another one that we dominated it in terms of possession. We did struggle to break them down. This one took place during an international break. So the likes of Mortensen, Turpinson playing in midfield, Johansson, who we've seen a little bit of as one of our young midfielders as well. We just didn't quite have the same grip on the game that we would do otherwise, I think. But they were down to 10 men towards the end as well. So arguably, we should have won more comfortably, but it was a comfortable 1-0, let's say. Final game, the final, I should say, was against Stanen, so let's see if we could win what must be like a 9th or 10th consecutive Icelandic League Cup. A counter-attack was finished by Rayul to give us the lead. But Stanen pulled level before half-time. Jimenez and Milosevic combined to restore our lead, before Sima and Ambrosio sealed the match. So there we go, we did indeed win it. They gave us a fright, 1-1 at half-time. It wasn't particularly easy for us. D'Ambrosio, though, his first appearance as the deep-lying forward, he worked really well. He was sort of doing almost exactly what I wanted to. Rayul was getting beyond him quite a bit as well. So yeah, there was certainly some promising signs there, although Stanen is a little bit different to playing some of the teams in Europe. But yeah, did like what I saw. Jimenez looks like he's doing again what we want him to do, getting forward. But quality of opposition is always going to be the big question mark for us, isn't it? So there we go. Another Icelandic League Cup in the bag. And let's see if we can keep strengthening this squad. So we've been playing friendlies. Now, I think it was part of the Volpes deal. We got a friendly against Chelsea, and this is a nice little result, isn't it? 3-2 we beat them. Very, very nice indeed. Ambrosio, Sima, and Baltinson all getting on the score sheet. And yeah, very, very promising indeed. Hopefully, we can actually carry that sort of result into Europe now, but pleased with that to say the least. Now, we have had the Icelandic version of the Community Shield. We were facing Valor. Let's see how it went. We took the lead through Smolian's first for the club. And Pavas's deflected shot fell for a rocker to get our second. Before a rocker pounced on a loose pass to make it 3-0 at half-time. And a rocker completed his hat-trick early in the second half. So Aroka and Smolian as well in his first appearance for the team had very, very good games. We're just too strong, aren't we? The way I picked this team was basically players that didn't have full match sharpness. We sort of picked the best team with those players, and yeah, this is the result that we got. Now Aroka, I am actively trying to sell him. I was hoping by playing him and the hat trick as well, we might get some bids for him. We're only sort of getting, I think the most we've got is like 2 or 3 million now. Yes, we want to try and sell him, but he's worth, and we got him for 1.1, let's not forget either, from Real Madrid. But also, I mean, he's good, isn't he? If we have to keep him for Europe, it's not going to be a disaster, is it? Okay, we are at the game day. There is a few things we need to go through here, though, so let's try and catch up on a few things here. Now, one problem we have is Ross Puwal. I've decided that we can upgrade at goalkeeper. Not that he's ever done badly for us. In fact, I'd say he's always done well for us. What I don't like about him, what I've been trying to eliminate from the squad, is this. Doesn't enjoy big games, because I just feel like we only have big games. It's not like we're a Premier League team where we can get away with players that just be squad players and come in and play sort of the lower mid-table teams. Every game we have that matters really is a big game. So that, I don't really like that about him. So I tried to see if we could ship him around and see what sort of fee we could get, and he didn't like that. So I didn't want to promise him that I wouldn't sell him, because 100% that's what I'm trying to do. So that's a minor problem we'll hopefully be able to get around. Zariev, I'm trying to sell. I haven't registered him in the squad. Now he's back to being a wonder kid. Ultimately, The issue we have, and this is the issue we run into every of our windows now, is we need to wait for the European window to open for things to happen. Now, we need 58 million to sign Grubasic. We either need Grubasic or we keep this guy. Ideally, I'd like to sell him and get Grubasic. Now, the issue we have is that with 6.6 is sort of what he's worth now. Finances, we have 40 million. So we need 18 million from somewhere to get Grubasic in. Now, that is potentially a problem. My way to get there is we sell him. If we can get him 8 million, and then the other one we could get rid of is a Rock. If we can then get 8 million for him, that gives us our 16 million, and then Grubasic can stay. It's not super urgent in the sense that Grubasic's loan has a little bit of time to go yet, but we do need to try and get something happening. So those are those two. Now, the other issue that we have is this. Mark Koch is considering his options at the end of his contract. Now, that becomes a problem because we paid 10 million for him. Now, and he's good. I want to keep him. I don't quite know why he wants to consider his options. All we can do is try and make him want to stay. We're not going to get our 10 million back for him. I mean, if we could, then that'd be brilliant. Well, not that we won't try, but he's here till not the end of this season, end of next season. So there's plenty of time to try and win him back around. To be completely honest with you, we're not going to play any more seasons than this one and the next one anyway, at the most, because we're going to run into the new FM. So we'll try and do things to keep him happy. I feel like a player who's committed to the club is probably better than one that's not, but yeah, that is a bit of a minor issue for us. Now, let's have a look at the team that we have to start the league season. And as I say every year, I mean, the team that starts the league season is it just doesn't matter what it is. It's always going to be good enough. So right now we have 3 goalkeepers. Ross Puwal, who was unhappy. He'll get over that, I would imagine. Rafasen is the backup. And then this guy is currently third choice, but it doesn't, again, third choice. We never use them. You never use your third choice, do you? At left back, the main guy will be Giacchini. He will be club captain again for this season unless we sell him, which I don't really think we will. Jeffrey Weir will be his backup. Now, he's very close to becoming club trained, so that's good news for us. What he's not done is developed as much as I had hoped he would. So, but if he's club trained, we're going to need to keep him for a little while. And then Mortensen, we've got a couple of guys that can play there as backup if needed. Over to right back, the two that will battle out for the main shirt at this point is Brandon Luna, who we signed last year, and Jimenez, who we signed earlier this window. Jimenez, as you can see, is starting to train on nicely, and I suspect, especially against teams that aren't quite the very top level, will play. Luna, though, is probably the better defensive option, in theory anyway, against the better teams. Other options here, Bodvartsen is still around, and we've also got Snyder, who is one of our club-trained players, was out on loan last year. We probably need to get rid of either Bodvartsen or Snyder, to be honest. And given that Bodvartsen came through our academy, that Snyder came through our academy, I'm thinking Bodvartsen might be the guy. And I think he's got a bit of a higher transfer value as well. We could maybe push up towards $500,000 for him. Whereas, Snyder's got the higher transfer value. So it might be whoever we get more money for, that's who we'll sell. Defensive, no, we've got to centre-back first, don't we? So, Grubasic, we can't rely on him being back. White, I've tried to see if we can get him back, and Chelsea don't want to loan him back to us. Certainly not without him going back to them first. So we've got to pretend that they are not options for this year. So that means as I see things now, our 2 first choice centre backs would become Plamenos and Gonzalez. Obviously, these could change. Then we've got Maya, who was happy at the club again. So I'll sort of back off on my move to sell him. Zarayev may be here, may not, but see what sort of fee we can get. Ornison, who is he's still quite good, maybe I should be putting him a little bit higher up on this list. Mortensen is there to play if we need him, and then we've got Pavas, who we'll see in a moment. He is he can be a very decent centre back, but where he is in the squad to play is here. Jonsson continues to be our man in this position. I really think he's just does a wonderful job there for us. Pavas obviously is one of the men there, and I meant to mention this earlier. Fredriksson, he's an international, so another gag has been capped. So well done to him. He is our 3rd choice deep line playmaker. Then we've got Gary Turpinson, still around at the age of 29, and still, to be honest, would be a very good player in the league. If he went anywhere else, he'd probably be one of the best players in the league. But for us, he barely gets a look in anymore. So to midfield, and this is where this is where we are perhaps lacking a little bit. Which is the side I set up? This side. So Raul, I think he's absolutely brilliant for us. El Puppeteer, no plans to sell him anytime soon. Contract up end of next season. We'll need to look to renew that for him. Valenzuela, as things stand right now, would be his sort of side man. Again, Brennett, there's no interest from Arsenal to loaning back to us. Johnson could play here, but ideally he wouldn't. And this is where we will, I think, need one or two in once the European window opens, just to strengthen. Meyer is predicted or has the ability to be very, very good. He's very good at the league level, not quite European ready yet. Smolin, again, potentially very, very good, just needs to become a little bit more well-rounded. He's only 18, so we don't want to rely on him too much this year. And then we get into the guys that have been around for a while. Allmarkson, obviously 28, is still very good at league level. We've got Rickardsson, who's been with us for a long time now. He was part of the Give Money Around the League campaign. That's how long he's been with us. And been giving him a little bit of time in pre-season, and he has been doing fairly well, which is good to see. Then we've got Bjornsson, who came through our academy. I'm trying to sell him. He's 22 now. He needs to go and strengthen the league or go somewhere else for us. We've seen Terps, and the other one is Johansson here. He's fairly ambitious. There's a little bit of potential there, so we'll try and give him some game time this season. You can see how if we can get $250,000 for him, I'd sell him on. But we'll just wait and see exactly what happens with him. He's certainly not. We can see how far down the pecking order he is. Over to the left-hand side, this is Seema's adopted position. It's his as long as he plays for us. He will be, if he's fit, he will play there. A Rock-Up is, again, someone I'd like to try and sell on. You can see his transfer value now is quite low. He is worth more than 2.6 million, so we'll have to wait and see if we can get a bidding war going or something. Maybe we can get up towards the 8 million that we're going to need for Grubasic, but we'll, again, wait and see. Androzovic, I'll ship over that name for probably the rest of the series. He's the promising left winger that we signed this window. He is very, very decent. We do still have this guy, Manuel Barber. Now, he is valued at 3 million, and we paid nothing for him. He's another one I'd be willing to sell because he doesn't really... He's not desperately needed for us, and at 20 he's probably got limited amount of potential. So between maybe him and a Rocker, we could maybe look to get the 8 million between them, 4 million each or something along those lines. So that could be a way to get to Grubasic in. Then we've got some of the youngsters that came through our academy in Bjornsson, in Magnusson, who we've seen do quite well for the Gags, and then Smolin can play here as well if needed. Then over to the right hand side, we've got Kosh. I hope he's going to be willing to stay fit with us. Milosevic, as I've said before, I think we have two of the best right wingers. We have two right wingers that can win the Champions League. Very happy with them. Junior is still developing for us. He's 18 and still does a decent job. And then there's no other new names there. Oh, we'll have a look at Heldarsson in a second because he is one of our striking options. And this is where we're strong, isn't it? We really, really are. So we've sort of got the three different sort of strikers. We've got the poacher type in Bautinson. We've got the sort of the more all-round or target man type, the physical presence at 195 centimeters in Skosian. And then the deep-lying forward in D'Ambrosio. Really, really happy with those three striking options. Again, I think they are brilliant. Seema, obviously, if we're needing to play up front, is very, very capable of doing so. We've also got a Rocker who could play up here. Good composure, sort of makes up for some of the finishing. Milosevic could, though we don't really ever see him up there. And then Haldarsson came through our academy, and a lot of potential. We're not really seeing it, though he's only 17. Poor finishing is what's going to let him down, isn't it, in the long run? But there is a player in there. I just don't know what position it is. Maybe an attacking midfielder with that passing and vision, but we'll deal with that at some other point. So there we go. That is what we have to start the league season with. We will do more once the European window opens. But yeah, this is what's happened. You can see all the outs there and the ins we've just gone through. We've only actually spent 4.5 million, more than we've brought in, thanks to selling Kruzliak. So we're in a good spot. We're going to win the league in all likelihood. It's just a matter now of seeing what we can do when contracts and loans and stuff like that end in Europe. Then I think we'll go a little bit bigger perhaps in the transfer market for that. But I hope you've enjoyed this anyway. I'll see you next time to start the league campaign. And we start, where do we start here? You can see all the friendly results there, lots and lots of goals. We start away to IA and then at home to Leichner, who I think they're newly promoted. So let's hope we don't have another Phil Keir moment like we did last season. But until then, guys, I've been Aussie Bill. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.